Welcome, sports fans, to the NFL Report. I'm your host, Dan, as always, and this is the Week 3 edition. So let's start recapping these games. As always, I'm going to start with the Bucs game. The Bucs won 16-13. This game, the Bucs defense actually showed up. Got 4 sacks. They were pressuring Matt Ryan all over the place and came out with a close win at the end. Next, we got Jaguars and the Panthers. This game was pretty close, kind of low scoring. The field was terrible. The conditions were terrible. The rain had the field looking like mud, and as such, quarterbacks couldn't do much with it, but the Panthers managed to come out on top. Next, we got the Saints and the Texans. Saints came back from a large deficit in the second half. Drew Brees was on fire and really outdueled Matt Schaub in this game, although both quarterbacks had great games. But in the end, the Saints came out on top. Next game, we got the biggest surprise of the week, the Buffalo Bills over the Patriots. This game, the Patriots were in control in the very beginning, up over 20 points. Tom Brady looked like he was just going to have a monster day. All of a sudden, the Bills just came out and started forcing turnovers. Tom Brady threw 4 interceptions, 4 picks. You don't see that happen very often. And the Bills just came back and scored at the last minute. So next we got the Dolphins and the Browns. This is just a game with 2 bad teams that ended up close and low scoring. And the Browns were just a little bit better than the Dolphins. Dolphins really need to step it up in the coming weeks if they're going to have any chance of a winning season. The Browns, they look like they're destined for an 8-8 year, which is good for them, but I'd like to see them make the playoffs. Next, we got the Broncos and the Titans. This game was close as well, but the biggest thing for me was the injury to Kenny Britt. That's really going to hurt the Titans coming up, although Matt Hasselbeck doesn't look phased. He's still finding receivers, but when you lose a receiver of that caliber, that's got to hurt your team. Chris Johnson still have not really seen much from you this year. Hopefully, in the coming weeks, he'll put his talent to use and he'll come back like he usually does. Next, we got the Eagles and the Giants. This game, Eli Manning looked really strong, threw 4 touchdowns, no picks. The Giants were just up the whole game. Michael Vick got injured early, and it just got uglier from there. Next, we got the Lions and the Vikings. This game was a surprise because I didn't think the Vikings would be up almost 20 points in the beginning of the game. The Lions, I don't know what happened, but they had a super slow start. Luckily for them, Matt Stafford bailed them out in the end, and they came up away with the victory, 26-23. Next game, this was the toilet bowl of the week, 49ers and Cincinnati Bengals, 13-8. Looks like a baseball game score. Both teams just not playing well right now. 49ers just happened to come out on top. Yeah. Alright, so next we got the Jets and the Raiders. This game was a big surprise to me because I really thought the Jets were going to come out and win this game and show them who's boss. Instead, the Raiders just had one answer for him, Darren McFadden. He's leading the league in rushing, playing outstanding football. So we'll see if he can keep it up in the coming games. Raiders also got a really nice defensive line, so look for them to assert some dominance this year. Next, we got the Chiefs and the Chargers. This game was a big disappointment for me. The Chargers still came out with the win 2017, but they should have blown the Chiefs away. The Chiefs are just struggling right now. They look like a terrible team, and the Chargers let them come way too close. So Chargers, step it up. Chiefs, you're destined to lose. You might as well give up this year. I'm sorry. Next, we got the Ravens and the Rams. This was a huge blowout. Just 2 mismatched teams. The Rams are without Steven Jackson right now. Like I've been saying, they're not going anywhere without him. On the other side, the Ravens have just got everything clicking. Joe Flacco looks really nice right now. He threw like 3 touchdowns, almost 400 yards. Just domination. Plus that defense, can't forget about the Ravens D, still dominant. Next, we got the Packers and the Bears. This game was just a case of a strong team playing a stronger team, and the stronger team just coming out on top. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are just too strong for the Bears right now. Although the Bears look like they can hold their own in the NFC and in coming games, so we'll see how they fare later on in the season. So next we got the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Another toilet bowl. I gotta say, Seahawks are now probably the worst team in the NFL. Tavares Jackson is just not a good starting quarterback, and that defense is really, really weak. But with that being said, they did pull off the win against the Cardinals, a division rival. And I don't know what the problem is with the Cardinals. That defense is really weak. Kevin Kolb is not showing anything, throwing passes where he's like falling down. He's so lucky he's got Larry Fitzgerald out there, receiver. So other than that, Cardinals just destined to lose this year. So next we got the Sunday night game. Steelers and Colts. Steelers won 23-20. This game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I used to think the Colts were the worst team, as I've said many times. Now I got to change my opinion. The Colts look like they're on a little bit of the come up. Without Peyton Manning, they're not going anywhere, but that defense still has some fire. Dwight Freeney playing lights out, so maybe there's a chance. The Steelers, on the other hand, I don't know. To look that weak against the Colts was kind of disappointing, but they still came out with the victory, and that defense still looks solid, so I don't really have any worries for them. Last, we got the Monday night game, Redskins and the Cowboys. This game was a lot closer than it should have been, although these teams are pretty evenly matched. One thing about this game was there was almost no offense. The defense was just smothering on both sides. Nobody could really do anything. And so it was kind of a boring game to watch. But nonetheless, Tony Romo came out on top at the end. Next, I got my players of the week. One thing I have to say is I'm going to make a change. From now on, I'm not going to be doing any more special teams players of the week. I'm not seeing too much of an impact this year on a week-to-week basis. If there is a special teams player that really stands out, like in week 1 where Ted Ginn was on fire, then I will shout them out. But other than that, it's just going to be offense and defense. So, to start off with, offensive player of the week had to be Wes Welker on the Patriots. I mean, 16 catches for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, you could have those stats, and it still would have been ridiculous. I mean, 8 catches, 100 yards, a touchdown. That's still a great game for receivers. So double that. Wes Welker just had an amazing game. Next, we got on defense. It's got to be Dwight Freeney on the Colts, my defensive player of the week. He just dominated. He was in the Steelers' backfield almost the whole game. Had 2 sacks. Still playing strong after all these years. So Dwight Freeney, good job. Let's start these predictions. So Lions and the Cowboys. I like the Lions. Bears and the Panthers, I like the Bears. Texans and the Steelers, I like the Texans. Titans and the Browns, I like the Titans. Bills and the Bengals, I like the Bills. The Bengals are playing terrible right now. Redskins and the Rams. Rams without Steven Jackson are not going to win, so of course I like the Redskins. Next, Vikings and the Chiefs, 2 struggling teams, but I like the Vikings. They got Adrian Peterson. Chiefs, you got nothing. 49ers and the Eagles, I like the Eagles. Saints and the Jaguars, I like the Saints. Drew Brees versus Blaine Gabbert, I don't even have to speak on that. Falcons and the Seahawks, I really like the Falcons. Giants and the Cardinals, I like the Giants. Packers and the Broncos, that should be a blowout. Packers all the way. Chargers and the Dolphins, I like the Chargers. Raiders and the Patriots, I like the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to show just how good they are this week. Richard Seymour is going to have a little revenge game against these Patriots, so we'll see. Next, I got the Ravens and the Jets. I like the Ravens. Darren McFadden just torched them on the run defense. Now they got to play against Ray Rice, so I don't think the Jets can handle the Ravens this week. And last but not least, I got the Monday Nighter with the Bucks and the Colts, and I definitely like the Bucks in this game to get revenge after that Monday night game long ago when Peyton Manning made the comeback against us. I'm still bitter about that. I think we're going to get revenge this week. So, next up, we got the question of the week. And last week I asked you guys, who do you think was going to be better this year, Brady or Rodgers? Most people said Brady, of course, just because he's throwing for a ridiculous amount of yards. But I'm still on that Packers bandwagon. I like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's still going to come out on top this year over Brady. He's still got the top quarterback rating in the NFL right now, so we'll see how it ends up. But I like Rodgers to finish off on top. So this week's question of the week, I got, who do you think is going to lead the league in rushing this year? There's a lot of backs this year who are playing excellent, averaging a lot of yards. So who of those guys do you think is going to come out on top? Is it going to be McFadden, Adrian Peterson? Who knows? I'll let you guys decide. Leave your answer in the comments section. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week for Week 4 recap.